I think a lot about how the world favors dishonesty. I find it a little stressful. I mean, I know people that have lied about having a college degree, and that's how they got a job. I mean, good for them for getting the job because they were qualified to do it, but the fact that they needed the college degree and they wouldn't have been looked at otherwise is kind of ridiculous. I feel like a lot of the times we just need to have a platform out there that allows people to be real. I mean, even when you're looking for a job, you know, you left your job because you didn't like the environment. There are 1,000 reasons that you could actually use to leave a job that doesn't make you a bad person. But no one really wants to hear you say that you quit your job, and no one wants to hear that you got fired for whatever reason, because sometimes people get fired for small things. I mean, sometimes people just get fired because there's too many people on a team and they're like, you haven't been here the longest. Granted, you are allowed to say these things in an interview, but people make their own assumptions, you know? And a lot of the times we just need to really forget all of that and look at the person for what they can do and hear the things that aren't really being said. Because when you set up people in an environment where like they have to lie, then you're not really getting any kind of truth. And it's really hard to see what kind of a person is until you're in something with them. Honestly, because lying is generally so accepted, it's like the people who are the best liars are somehow going to get the best kinds of opportunities, and oh, that just doesn't sit right with me. And we live in a world where, along the same lines, forced apologies are the norm, where you say something that you meant when you said it, but it made you look bad. So you set up your phone, you set up your camera, you do whatever you gotta do to make yourself look good again. And I wish that we would just, it's kind of twofold. You want to let people just be who they are, and sometimes you're going to disagree with them, and it is what it is. Like, and sometimes it doesn't make them a bad person. There are people out there that have said things that are not great, but they're not bad people because they said it. And then there are things that people have said that kind of make them a bad person. I mean, it's usually backed up by things that they've done or ways they behave, and typically you'll find that in an actual pattern of behavior and real things that they have done. But just because someone has a really good apology doesn't necessarily clear them of those actions. And I'm a firm believer of people not apologizing if they don't mean it. I believe that if you're going to apologize, it only matters if you actually care. And not care because you want to look better, but care because you mean it, because you learned something and you grew and you would like to be a better person, or you want to at least strive to be a better person. Because if saying sorry once for something that you have done all your life is the expectation for perfection, then that's not going to work. But if you truly mean it and you're truly sorry for something that you have done, and you start to prove that that's not something that you do anymore, then that's a wonderful thing to see. But what we really see is people doing whatever they want, then just apologizing. Sorry, I don't have the COVID. But what we really see is people just apologizing and going about their business and doing the same things they've done all along. You can even say that people do this in relationships. You're like, I can't think of a specific example, but people do it all the time. I mean, people who are in abusive relationships, they half the reason they stay a lot of times is because the person that is doing the harm apologizes and feels guilty. Where I do believe that there are some people out there that can be abusive that actually feel remorse, that probably just need help and don't know how to control themselves. But I also feel that there are very manipulative people out there that don't feel sorry at all, but have mastered the art of convincing people that they feel sorry. And I just think that the world would fare off better if we all learned how to live with our truths. If we all learned how to admit our mistakes and want to grow from them. Or admit that maybe somebody didn't like something, but that's just how you feel about something, and it doesn't make you a terrible person. There are political or religious beliefs that people have that can be a little divisive, and some of them aren't bad on either side of the argument. It's just everybody's a different person. Then there are certain things that just have moral implications. And then there are things that are just basic human decency, like I've said from the beginning, you know. Certain things aren't up for debate. And within reason, we should accept people for who they are. And some people are not that great. And yeah, it would be great if they wanted to improve themselves, but some people don't want to improve themselves. And we can choose to just not have those people in our lives and or do something about it, dependent upon what that thing is. But I have learned to, I don't know how this makes me sound. I've had people apologize to me where I knew very well that they didn't mean it. They just didn't want me to be upset with them anymore. And those are not really apologies I accept. I hear them, I let them say what they have to say, but I don't say, oh, don't worry about it, you know, don't feel bad, like, you don't need to apologize. I mean, because at the end of the day, sometimes people should apologize for certain things that they've done and mean it and not want to do it again. And if they do it again and acknowledge that they've done something that they had promised or whatever that they weren't going to do again. I mean, that's how people move forward, and that's how you grow. And that's how you grow together as well. I really believe that. I can probably be a little too honest at times, but I'd rather have somebody be upset with me for being too honest than for something I lied about. And then I think that there are wonderful lies for things like surprises or doing something great for someone, or just not necessarily boasting about something that you've done and just making it less of a big deal. Now, granted, people out there do wonderful things and boast about it, and I don't even have an issue with that. If you go out and you do great things, fine, you can talk about it, you know, but also don't expect everybody to think you're the most amazing person for doing that one thing that you did, or even for people out there actually doing amazing things. Not everybody's impressed with that, but that's fine. You don't have to be. Yeah, I just kind of wanted to talk about how dishonesty kind of runs the world, and I hope that we grow towards something where honesty is truly more valued than really perception. I mean, perception is truth to a lot of people, but sometimes perception cannot be truth. I get that it is, but there has to be a way that we should work towards just unifying and believing in truth instead of manipulating it. Yeah, that's all. I hope just we can all live in a little more honesty, and that's how I strive to be, and that has its pros and cons, and I hope that the pros outweigh the cons at the end of the day. That's all. Be well and stay well. Thanks.